students of 4th year physics. Today we are going to start next chapter, which is chapter number 29, Gauss's law. Let us move towards the detail of this chapter. Now, how can we define an electric flux? First of all, the number of electric lines or forces which are passing perpendicularly or normally through a certain area. This is called electric flux. Whenever electric field lines passing through the area which is held perpendicular to these lines or at right angles to these lines or normally to these lines, then this will create or generate a term flux. It is measured by the product of area and the component of electric field intensity normal to that area. So it is product of two things, area and electric field intensity. It is denoted by phi e. Consider a surface S. This one is a surface S. So just concentrate on the position of my cursor. This one is the area S. Surface S placed in the uniform electric field of intensity E. Let A be the vector area of the surface. This one, suppose this is the area, and how we can describe it in terms of vector. E, this one is the vector area. Let A be the vector area of the surface. The component of E perpendicular to A, to the area A, is E cos theta. The component of the electric field vector which is exactly perpendicular to this surface area, this is known as E cos theta. So the electric flux through the surface S is given as electric flux is equal to A E cos theta, and electric flux this is equal to E A cos theta. As angle between electric flux and area is cos theta, so both are vector quantities. So in vector form there will be a dot product, and electric flux is a scalar quantity because it is created due to the dot product of two vector quantities. The electric flux is a scalar product of electric field intensity and the vector area. The SI unit of the electric flux is Nm square per coulomb. If the field is not uniform, then we divide the surface into small number of patches. If their electric field is not uniform through that surface, or the surface is not uniform, in both of these cases we divide the surface into small patches, each of area delta A, such that the electric field remains constant through each and every area. Now look at this irregular shaped body. Look at the position of my cursor. This has no particular or no exact shape. Further, the electric field lines passing through this are not at the fixed distance from each other. This is just concentrate on the position of my cursor, the place where these electric field lines are close to each other. We say that electric field strength is more here, and where they are farther apart the electric field intensity or electric field strength is less here. So through this entire area electric field intensity is not uniform. So for this purpose, we divide this body into small or number of patches, into a large number of patches, and these are some patches having a small area which is represented by delta A1. Suppose 3 1. This is created. This is in large view in this form. Second one, it's in large view is in this form, and the first one in large view is in this form. These are the delta A1, delta A2, delta A3. These are vector areas, and this is the direction of electric field intensity through these small patches of the area delta A. So when we sum up the entire all the areas of this irregular shaped body, then the electric flux, this is equal to summation. N is the number of patches, I is equal to 1. I can be any number of patch. This is EI dot delta AI, where n approaches to infinity means that there is a very large number of small patches such that delta A approaches to 0. It is not 0, just nearly equal to 0. Then the sigma is replaced by the integral, by the surface integral. This one is the surface integral when n approaches to infinity and delta A approaches to 0. By convention, the outer flux is taken as positive and inward flux is taken as negative, because from the positive charge electric field lines originate, come out, and for the negative charge electric field lines enter into it. Now Gauss's law statement: the total electric flux Gauss's law is the total electric flux through any closed surface. Whenever you take the total electric flux through any closed surface and takes it by 1 over epsilon naught times, so means we multiply it by 1 over epsilon naught. So it will take the form the total flux through any closed surface is 1 over epsilon naught times the total charge enclosed by the surface. How can we explain it? The Gauss's law gives the relationship between total flux and the total charge enclosed by the surface. Gauss's law is applicable only to the closed surfaces. For calculation of the flux through that surface or electric field intensity through that surface, consider a collection of positive and negative charges in a certain region of space. According to Gauss's law, electric flux is equal to Q over epsilon naught. Q represents total charge and we multiply it by 1 over epsilon naught times. So epsilon naught electric flux is equal to Q. Total charge is equal to electric flux into epsilon naught, which is permittivity of a free space. Epsilon naught is represented by permittivity of free space. Now, in the next case, where Q is the net charge enclosed by the surface and the electric flux, this is equal to integral. Here, circle represents closed integral because body is of closed form and Gauss's law is applicable only to the closed bodies. Is so closed integral E dot dA. So above relation will become epsilon naught closed integral E dot dA is equal to Q. Closed integral E dot dA is equal to Q over epsilon naught. Integral form of the Gauss's law, since the volume charge density is defined as volume charge per unit volume. When we take total charge per unit volume, then this is represented by volume charge density. Rho is equal to dq over dv. Charge, when we take the ratio of charge and volume, or when we divide the total charge by the volume. Here we take only some part of the total bodies, and so the charge and only some of the charge for the total charge out of the total charge. So here it is dq, and some of the volume out of the total volume. So it is represented by d. So rho is equal to dq over dv and dq. This is the differential charge for only a small element of area. So dq is equal to rho dv and q is equal to integral v. This integral is taken over the entire volume into rho dv. According to Gauss's law of flux through the Gaussian surface, electric flux is equal to, so this is surface integral, S is for surface integral E dot dA. So according to Gauss's law, electric flux is equal to Q over epsilon naught, where Q is the total charge enclosed by the closed shaped body, and putting the value of Q in above relation. Then we will get electric flux is equal to 1 over epsilon naught volume integral into rho dV. Rho is placed in terms in replacement of Q. Comparing both the equation 3 and 5 equation on the previous slide, equation number 3, integral S E dot d is equal to 1 over epsilon naught integral V rho dV. This is the integral form of Gauss's law. Now the differential form of Gauss's law, if the charge is distributed into a volume having uniform volume charge density rho, then according to the differential form of Gauss's law, if we distribute whole the charge into the volume with the uniform volume charge density, charge is uniform over the entire volume. Then according to this differential form of Gauss's law, surface integral E dot dA is equal to 1 over epsilon naught volume integral rho dV. We know that by divergence theorem, when we convert surface integral into volume integral, then we apply divergence theorem. So surface integral E dot dA is equal to volume integral divergence E dV. So volume integral divergence E dot dV is equal to 1 over epsilon naught volume integral rho dV. This is placed in terms of this one here, this one. So volume integral divergence E dot dV is equal to 1 over epsilon naught volume integral rho dV. This left hand side will be moved to the right hand side will be moved to the left hand side. So minus sign is here. Volume integral divergence E dot dV minus 1 over epsilon naught volume integral rho dV is equal to 0. Volume integral divergence E minus 1 over epsilon naught rho dV is equal to 0. So divergence E minus 1 over epsilon naught rho is equal to 0. So divergence E is equal to 1 over epsilon naught into rho, where volume can never be simplified expression of differential form of Gauss's law. This is all about today's lecture. In case of any queries, you can send me messages on your Google Classroom. Thank you so much.